Well, mining might be booming, but Australian manufacturing is being squeezed by high dollar and low offshore labour costs. One of the latest victims is the Heinz tomato factory in the Goulburn Valley food bowl. Heinz plans to close the factory next month, but the locals are fighting back, seeking to buy it and run it as a model for other struggling country communities. And as political editor Heather Hewitt reports, they've got government backing.
Welcome, stranger, to the show.
The small town of Goulburn in Victoria's Goulburn Valley was shaken to the core when told its lifeblood, the Heinz tomato processing factory, would close in the new year. At least 150 jobs would go.
Keeping Heinz going and making sure that there is a guaranteed supply from farmers all the way through to consumers is going to be crucial.
So, residents, workers and growers got together to protest. Not quite sure what that would achieve, but certain of the need to do something.
Most of the workers felt as though there was nowhere to go, I think, and probably most of us did too. We thought at least having a rally showed that we opposed what was going on.
What was your feeling when it was announced that it was going to close?
Horror, disappointment and frustration, I suppose, a little bit of anger too. I believed I'd retire out of the Goulburn plant and sort of thrown all our plans into chaos, really.
Is this the little people taking on the big guys?
Most certainly, and why not? Why not? Why are we all so frightened of standing up and doing something in Australia? It's about time we did our own little bit.
We can't trust Heinz at all.
So they did all stand up, surprising themselves as much as anyone else when they decided they'd try to buy the factory from Heinz.
Because we have to produce food for Australians in Australia.
I have every confidence in the people that we've got around this table. They want to do that and they're ready to do that.
This community project has taken on a life of its own and they're thinking big, planning not just to take over the factory, but also set up a training complex for process workers and offer tourist accommodation as well. Do you realistically think you can pull this off?
Yes. And we're very surprised to be able to say yes, I guess. If you'd asked us in September, we would have said no. But right at the moment, we have got $2 million promised by a white knight investor. We've got another $1 million that have been pledged by various people around the committee.
It's a groundswell of community support for what is basically a good idea to compete against the multinationals in a David and Goliath type battle. So, you know, they like that aspect of it because they get a chance to have a crack at the big guys.
At the home of former National Party leader Sir John Blackjack McEwen, always a fierce defender of local manufacturing, these residents, growers, workers and professionals hold regular planning meetings and think he'd be proud of their efforts. It's no longer just about trying to save jobs, but about saving a community.
We've all got families here, committed to sports clubs and, sporting functions, schools. We want to work where our families are and use our skills that we've learned at Heinz.
To see the children in the long term have jobs, I mean, that's my interest, to make sure there's jobs out there in the future for our students. It has given hope, yes.
Connect the community with the actual production of the processing of the tomatoes. And that
with momentum building, the local council has become heavily involved, and so too has the state government, both providing funds for a feasibility study.
Well, you can see the drawings in the background here. They do look pretty flash, but anything is possible. People power can do it. But part of our involvement in the process is to make sure that it's based on sound economic reasoning. How
would it actually operate?
Well, we believe that what we will do that will be different from Heinz is first of all we're not going to concentrate on the Coles and Woolworths market,
because a lot of products that go through Coles and Woolworths and IGA and others are simply what the big supermarkets want to sell, not what the public want.
Australia's rural industry is on its knees.
Their marketing manager, the original celebrity chef, Peter RUSSELL-CLARKE, says it's time to think outside the square. With the strong support of local growers, who also feel they haven't been getting a good deal from the multinationals, he's advocating a cooperative selling different products that bypass the supermarket chains.
A food company in Australia should be starting to make food with a Thai flavour, or they should be making tomato sauce that the Muslims would like, instead of making tomato sauce that the Poms made and the Americans made for hundreds of years, and they haven't changed the recipe.
Of course, this all sounds very ambitious, and Heinz claims the initial bid is too low. But the Co-op committee says there's a lot more work to do yet. The Heinz factory is due to close its doors on January the 14th. If the locals here can pull off what once would have been the unthinkable and take it over to save their community, they see the project as a template, and not just for the rest of the Goulburn Valley, but for food production and processing areas with similar problems around Australia.
There's a lot of towns suffering and there's no guidance on how to go through this, so if we're able to go through the whole process, get the place up and running, it could mean a difference for Australia.
It would certainly make all the difference for Goulburn. Tomorrow, locals gather for their annual Christmas party, hoping the new year will bring good news.
Well, let's hope. Heather Hewitt reporting.